We haven't decided yet. We just keep putting deposits down on different venues that we like, that we see.
I mean, but you're from the East Coast, right?
Yes, I'm from Maine. It'll likely be Vancouver area.
But Vancouver, BC?
Yeah.
Where you're filming? Oh, awesome. Has that become your home?
Because it's him.
Because that's where he's the real estate developer, right there.
Yes.
How handy.
I know.
All right, good. You can
Season
find-
1, I thought Vancouver's okay. Season 2, I thought Vancouver's okay. End of season 2, I went, Vancouver's fantastic. I'm going to move here.
Mazel, once again, that's wonderful. All right, so when you're on the set of Continuum and you're in the middle of a scene, do you go, wait a minute, would somebody tell me what's going on?
Oh yeah, it happens all the time. We were shooting an episode a couple weeks ago, and I had a scene with, and I'm not spoiling a huge secret, but coming back at the beginning of season 3, there are 2 Alex Sadlers in the timeline. And I had a scene with one Alex Sadler, and my thought process was, okay, because he asks me a question, and I know that he doesn't know that I know the answer to that question, but the other Alec knows that I know the answer to that question, so I have to pretend in that moment that I don't know the answer to that question, even though I'm about to admit that I do know the answer. Yes, it gets very, very confusing, so I've got to do a lot of background work ahead of
Yeah,
time.
'cause that whole time traveling thing really is, that's hard.
It's helpful for storylines because there are never-ending storylines, but literally we'll sit on set saying, what timeline am I in? Am I before I time travel the second time? Somebody help me. So then Simon Davis-Berry, who created the show, I just have him on speed dial.
Oh, good.
He knows way more than I do.
So, this is a big role, the lead of a television show, the 3rd season. And congratulations again.
Thank you.
It's just such a good show. What kind of pressure is that in that lead role? I mean, you're like the one everybody's looking to. You are kind of the. Do you set the tone? Tell me about taking that lead position.
You know, I learned the best lesson ever when I was on Alias, and I came in season 5, and they shot, you know, we shoot 13 episodes, which is a lot, but Alias shot 22, 24, 25 episodes, and Jennifer Garner was the lead. And it trickles down from the top. Between her and J.J. Abrams, you could not meet nicer, more loyal, more lovely people. And I remember thinking to myself, if I'm ever the lead, I should remember Jennifer Garner, because she was also pregnant when I joined the show in season 5. And yeah, I mean, season 1, you're totally nervous. Season 2, if you get picked up again, you don't want to disappoint the fans, and then it becomes really about you know, making sure that the story is good as season 1, and it just that, you know, is intensified for future seasons, but it's also really enjoyable because you have your fan base, and then you have the crew that you work with every year, and most of our crew comes back every year, the ones that can anyway, and so you've got this family, so you've got a shorthand, so that's also really nice. But we've been on family, especially the cast. I mean, if you follow any of us on Twitter, we're always tweeting each other and, you know, excuse my language, taking the piss out of each other.
Is that a Canadian thing?
No, I think that's a British
Taking the piss out of each
thing.
other?
I think that's a British thing.
Okay. Well, yeah, Canada.
Once I start throwing in A, you'll be like, oh, that's Canada.
Well, speaking of which, another Instagram photo of you and your one of your mortal enemies on the show. Oh my God, the blonde Jasmine Garza, played by Luvia.
Yes.
Peterson. You guys are besties on the set.
So, okay, first of all, when I met Luvia, believe it or not, she had long, sort of dark brownish hair. She's bleach blonde on the show, but basically but she's totally, the persona is so different between the day that I met her and then what she is now. And her character was tiny in the first season, and they gave her a couple chances. And if you remember the first season, there's a sequence where Alex is essentially abducted, and Kagame is giving him this speech, but she's the one that zip ties him to that chair. Now, originally that was supposed to be Travis, but Roger Cross, who brilliantly said, you know, but I just went away in that other scene, there's no way I'd be back. So they gave it to Luvia just to throw it out there and see what she did. So she improv'd all of that. So she's extremely talented, her role has grown, and then this year in season 3, we have a very interesting back and forth relationship, and you never quite know which way it's going to go. I still don't know which way it's going to go.
Do they keep information away from you? Or is this just writers writing on the fly?
No, I've always said I want to be on a need-to-know basis. I don't want you to fill my brain with this is everything that's going to happen in this season, or this is everything that's going to happen for the whole show. I just want to be on a need-to-know basis. If I need to know that so-and-so is my father, sure, tell me. But if I don't need to know it, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised by the scripts. I want to enjoy the scripts. Plus, I think my brain would be completely overloaded if I had any concept of where the whole series was going to go. So I just like to play it sort of one script at a time.
Well, that wouldn't be true to the character anyway.
Exactly.
The character doesn't know what's going to happen. So does that make acting just to focus on the here and now? Is that valid?
I like that a lot. I mean, I have a brilliant acting coach who I've worked with for years in LA, and we do Skype sessions when I'm in Vancouver, and she's very helpful at being like, oh, remember season 1, episode 7 when you said this?
Wow.
She's much better at that than I am. So yeah, a lot of it's very, in the moment we get the scripts ahead of time, I work on them with her. And then by the time, especially now given that it's season 3, I'm pretty confident that any decision I make for Kira is the right one because we've become very, very similar as seasons have progressed. So, but yeah, I like to have certain moments just like be spontaneous.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So speaking of these roles and working on Alias and seeing Jennifer Gardner and then being in Continuum and then in Alex Cross and these wonderful, strong, female, butt-kicking characters. Has this been lucky or the result of an intense career strategy?
I know, it's been luck actually. When I started on Alias, when Jen Gardner had started, she had a trainer. And so they were paying for me to have a trainer when I started on Alias because they wanted, the tone, the tough, the sensibility, the stamina, because those shots where you're running or you're doing a fight scene, we do those over and over and over, and you're not supposed to break a sweat. So you've got to kind of train your body for that. And the first time I worked with a trainer, when I signed on to Alias, I almost passed out because I hadn't worked out in a long time. And since then, I've obviously taken to it. But I like the strong female role. I like the physicality of it. It looks cool. I wish I had a much more in-depth and intelligent answer. But once you see fight scenes cut together on TV or on film, they just look so badass. And we were doing a photo op today, and a father came up with his 2 young daughters, and he said, "Thanks for being a strong female role model." And I just thought, wow. That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. What a wonderful career that's going on so far. So speaking of working out, I'm sure that is like a big part of an actor's job, just to work out. And how many hours a day would you say you are lifting weights and running up and down the streets of Vancouver?
Here's the funny part. When as my husband laughs over there, I do speak the truth. In my downtime, I try to work out once a day to just stay in good shape. When I'm shooting the show, I don't work out to stay in good shape. I work out to keep my mind sane and intact. But when I'm shooting, my trainer Valerie and I in LA have always had this thing that we call banking fitness. So right before the season starts, I get in really good shape, so that as the season progresses and my workouts dwindle, hopefully the muscle memory will stay intact enough. So this past week I made it to the gym 3 times, and I hadn't been previous to that in a month.
Oops.
3 weeks.
You guys have the love bug? Yeah.
No, we try to work out on the weekends together. It just doesn't always happen.
So when you've banked your fitness here, do you stay, do you have to stay on a really good eating schedule and watch that and
I try not to
stay away from the craft table?
Well, that's it's just like a gigantic pile of carbs that call your name all day long. I try to do a pretty good job. The funny thing is it's actually based in sleep, because if I'm tired, I will go right to the box of donuts and I will just go for the donut because my brain is going, oh, you're hungry, and that's actually just exhausted and tired of thinking and makes me think that I'm hungry. But I try to be pretty healthy. I love cheeseburgers and pizza, and so that's when I have to work out.
Well, you do need carbs.
You do. If you're running around the streets of Vancouver killing future criminals, you really need pizza.
I mean, because you're working out on the show, right?
Exactly.
There you go. All right.
That super suit doesn't hide a lot though, so I gotta be conscious of it.
So back to these tough physical roles of yours and fight training. Was this a big part of your college training? Was your combat classes, or has this been something you learned on the job?
This was all learning on the job, and I always equate it to learning naked dance. If you're going to learn, sort of any proper dance, whether it's the waltz or the mambo or whatever, and you learn the steps, and then you put the steps together, and then you put them all together, and then it's the entire dance. Well, that's a fight scene. So you learn little pieces at a time, little pieces at a time, little pieces, and you slowly start to string them all together. And once you know, and I learned a lot of the basics on Alias, and then and have been able to, between Conan and G.I. Joe and Alex Cross and other physical roles, I keep up that sort of muscle memory of what a fight scene is. And then you go shoot something like Continuum, and I'm working every day, all day, so I don't have time to rehearse fight scenes, so a lot of times I'll get a video from the stunt coordinator, who's amazing, of my stunt double fighting whoever the actor is because they're rehearsing, and I will learn from a video that I get the night before, and then I just show up and I have to sort of wing it.
Cool.
It usually works out pretty well unless Roger Cross, who plays Travis Birch, is wearing a large ring on his finger, and then sometimes you almost get knocked out.
Have you been hurt? In your career,
Oh my God,
scenes?
Roger, last year it was a season finale, and Roger, for those of you who don't know him, is 6'3", big dude, gentlest giant in the entire world, amazing father, he's great, best laugh, he's a teddy bear. However, we had this huge fight scene, and he was wearing this really big ring. And I thought to myself, God, that's a little bit of a liability. That sounds like a bad idea. That looks terrible. Cut to, he was supposed to grab my face and throw me into the ground, which worked the first 5 times, and then the 6th time, it was this hand, he grabbed my face, and his ring smashed into like this part of my temple right here, and it's the first time in my life I ever saw stars. And I had to take a knee, and then I got a huge welt, which was hysterical because we still had to shoot for the rest of the day, and I love to tell people that Roger Cross hurt me. But no, for all of the things that we do, and I'm very gung-ho about all of them, the actual injuries are very, very minimal.
Good.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't be able to still be here season 3 doing it if I was getting killed season 1.
It's acting.
Yeah.
Okay, good to hear.
There are bruises all the time, but I think it's kind of cool.
All right. Hope the fiance thinks so too.
No, he makes me wear like tights and long sleeve shirts all the time. He doesn't want people to think that.
Oh, they can see. All right, let us go back in some movie history. You ready?
Oh God.
Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah, first movie I ever did.
It's wonderful. Back in 2003 when Harry met Lloyd, it got panned, but not your performance. Not your performance. But you got your, that's so mean of me.
She's being nice.
All right, nice. Anyway, fun little movie, how's that? And you got your movie feet wet, you learned a lot there.
I
Tell
did.
us about that.
That was actually, I was still at Columbia. I took, Columbia was where I went to school. They were very gracious about letting their students sort of embrace the world and embrace what their future was going to be. And so I was still in school, I was shooting the movie. And I'd never been really on a movie set before, and they never, I almost didn't know that we didn't shoot scenes sequentially. We don't shoot scenes chronologically. Some days you might, my first day on Alex Cross, I had a sex scene with Ed Burns and I died. That was day 1. So you never know what you're gonna get. And for me it was a great learning experience because it is that idea of moving to a totally different city. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I'd never been there before. I didn't know anybody there. And I was also still at school at the same time. So it was kind of, I was acting on the fly.
And studying?
Yeah.
And you were studying drama, but then math and economics.
Yeah, I actually, the funny thing is I was a math econ major, primarily economics at Columbia, and I tried to get into some of the drama courses after I started acting, and they wouldn't let me in. Because I had to wait until all of the drama students had selected their courses for the season, and so then by the time it came around to me, there was nothing left. So ironically enough, I never took any acting classes at all at Columbia or any drama classes. No.
But, and not in grad,
No, I only started acting so that I could pay for grad school because my parents told me that they could only pay for undergrad and then they'd be broke.
But you didn't go to grad school?
No, not yet.
That was going to be in math and econ, I get.
Yeah, I would have probably gone back to Columbia and I would have gone to business school.
Wow, that's great. Now, speaking of Alex Cross, you trained to be a cop in that movie when you, what did you guys do on the set? You would run in and...
It was really fun actually. Tyler Perry is lovely and hysterical and such a sweetheart, and so is Ed Burns for that matter. And I think in my experience I've probably had more gun handling than either of them had ever had. So, but we did a lot of tactical stuff. We were in Chicago, which was really, really fun, and we were in Cleveland, which was also really fun, also because the Football Hall of Fame's in Canton, so I made time to go there. But yeah, we worked with a great group of guys that were all, you know, former special ops, and they brought us to the training facilities that they used, and we'd go through and clear houses, and all that stuff is really fun when your castmates are cool, because you have a blast, and then you accidentally, you know, obviously there are no bullets in these guns, but you accidentally point your gun at someone's head and they're like, no, you can't flash your partner, you know, because you don't want to accidentally shoot them. So you learn all these lessons in this very sort of funny atmosphere. But
is he a pretty funny guy? I mean, he's playing the serious guy in Alex Cross, but
he's
so many
lovely.
comedies.
He's so funny, he's so warm, he's got the best laugh, and he's extremely generous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, then we move to Raise, this intense film about boxing and women, and you produced it. And that was deep stuff. Now, what propelled you to want to produce this one?
Well, my friend Josh Waller was directing it, and Zoe Bell, for a little bit of backstory, it originally was going to be webisodes for Zoe. And Josh came to me, and it was before the first season of Continuum, and he said, would you do this little thing at the beginning of the movie for Zoe? And I went, sure, because Zoe and I, my first fight scene ever was on Alias. And a lot of times they'll have the actor, if it's my close-up or my face on the screen, they'll have the actor fight the stunt double of the other actor. So it was my close-up, and I was fighting Amy Acker's stunt double, which was Zoe Bell. And very famously, I ducked a punch and came up too early, and Zoe punched me in the face. And I'm the only person that she's ever hit. So she was devastated. It was entirely my fault. She hates when I tell the story because she hasn't hit anyone since, and that was 8 years ago at this point. But anyway, so we both thought it would be funny to do this sort of Alias stunt rematch. And it turned into something so much bigger than we ever thought it was going to be. And I'm very proud of it, not only for Josh, but also for Zoe. And just, it's very Fight Club meets Gladiator for women. And it's brutal. There are some parts that I can't even watch, but it's not misogynistic in any way. It's actually quite empowering. And it was very fun for me to shoot and then leave and shoot the first season of Continuum. And then while I was gone, they shot the rest of the movie. And then I saw the final cut and I went, oh, that's what it turned into. Okay.
Wonderful. Now, what's that mean to be a producer, too?
I just help making connections and getting some of the financing and saying, oh, hey, this person might be able to work for this rate. Just kind of connecting the dots and working with Josh, and who'd been a friend of mine. We tried to work together for a long time, and it's great when you get to work with your friends most of the time. It doesn't happen that way. You want to work with your friends and you don't get to, so I've had the opportunity now twice to work with Josh.
That's wonderful. Do you see yourself producing other stuff so you can kind of pick and choose who's?
I could see myself, yeah, for friends that I've worked with that I know that I want to work with again, sure.
Yeah.
And then for potential vehicles for myself, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow.
Because if you want to go out there and find a project and make it for yourself rather than someone else.
Yeah, you're starting young at that. I mean,
I'm 34. I'm not that.
Are you really? Yeah. Oh. She looks about 17 up here.
I will take it. Oh, no, I need at least 21 otherwise.
Yeah. All right, then you have an upcoming movie with Nicholas Cage.
Yes.
Am I saying this right? Tokarev?
Yes, it's a kind of a Russian weapon.
Okay.
It's like the proper name of Russian.
Is this a typical wife scene in a movie where all the guys run off and do the action, or have you, I mean, I just saw it and playing the wife, I went, what's going on here?
It's different. It was great for me to finish season 2 of Continuum and go to Mobile, Alabama, where I must say Southern hospitality is alive and well. I've never experienced anything like it. I met some of the nicest, most lovely people. And it was fun to go off and play someone who's very different from Kira, from Continuum, but there are similarities. I'm not just playing the wife.
I didn't mean it like that at all.
No. It's a very sort of, it's a very brutal story about a criminal who goes seemingly white collar and his daughter's abducted and he goes back to his old ways to try to avenge her death. And I'm his second wife. She's my stepdaughter. And I have to say, Nichols was lovely and so sweet and so easy to work with, and it was really refreshing because I didn't know what to expect working with someone so established and someone who obviously I'm playing his wife. We have to look like we like each other. So if he was difficult or hated me, I didn't know how that was going to go. But he was lovely, and it made the experience very, very enjoyable. So they've been on the festival circuit while I've been shooting, and hopefully there'll be news of a release very soon.
Good, I hope so. No, I didn't mean anything by that because I see a lot of strong women actors get cast in these big action-y kind of flicks, and then they're the wife, and I want more from them.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's a very emotional role, and
Okay,
it's a very brutal and violent role. So yeah, it's different than anything I've ever done.
Okay, good. And then Conan, the Barbarian. I know we're skipping through place and time and
Time travel, that's what I'm all about.
Yeah, exactly. You filmed in Bulgaria.
Yes, I do.
And then your wonderful parents.
My
Did they make
parents
that
came
trip?
My parents, Jim and Alice Nichols, are the most amazing parents, and they come and visit every set. They come and see me wherever I am. They came the first season of Continuum, they came the second season of Continuum, I think the third season they went, well, we can go next year. But they visited me in Prague when I was shooting G.I. Joe. My mom came to Santa Fe when I was shooting A Bird of the Air. And yes, they came to Bulgaria. My parents from Maine came to Bulgaria before a trip to Scotland because they knew they were going to have to do something afterwards. But they came to Bulgaria for 5 days. And it was so nice having them there because I'd get home from work and they'd be making dinner and my mom would open wine and we'd have cheese and snacks. It's very grounding once you've been not only out of your home country, but out of a country that but out of your native language, And then obviously on top of that, in Bulgaria, it's in the Cyrillic alphabet. So not only is it not your language, it's not your alphabet, so you just can't understand anything. So having mom and dad show up is always helpful.
That's so sweet. Now, this was second billing in this Conan film. I'm sure people want to know a lot about that whole experience of being out there in this epic, the whole
3.5 months.
Yeah. And what was the highlight of being on that set, besides your wonderful folks coming out?
I do have to say Jason Momoa is lovely, and he played Conan, and he's just so sweet, like 6'5", gentle giant, lovely father, amazing. But he was really easy to work with. I tested with him when he had the role before I was offered the role, and I liked him right away. And he made it quite easy. And his Liliquai, his girlfriend and the mother of his children, came out, and she was there with the kids for a month, and just lovely and embracing. And it's a tough place to be, but between Jason and then he had other friends that were there, he actually made it a lot easier on me because I was away from everybody I knew for 3.5 months in Bulgaria.
Yeah, I didn't even know where it is on the map. That's impressive.
It's not a vacation destination.
Okay, good to know. Now, the test. Tell me what's that like to test with another actor? Give us a little inside Hollywood.
It's an interesting process because I've been in the role of testing when I didn't have the job and the person I was testing against already did have the job. And I've been in the position of I have the job and I'm testing against people who don't have the job. So when I'm in the latter position, I always have my favorite. That's just the way that it works, whether it's the chemistry, the personality, the whatever. And so you know going into the other scenario that the person you're testing against is going to have their favorite. Now, you don't always get your first choice. The studio might disagree, the director might disagree, the contract might not work out with your top choice actor, whatever you want. So as someone who's on the side of not having the job and wanting it, you go in, you know, full steam ahead, you prepare the best that you can. I always work with my coach. I give the best performance, the one that I think is most germane to the character. Hopefully, whoever I'm testing against, we can feed off of each other and have a sense of comfortable. But you never know. You could walk into a room that's absolutely cold where the person you're testing against wants their best friend to have the role and has no interest in you being cast, and you're powerless. It's fine. I haven't been in that situation. I tested against Ed Burns for Alex Cross, and he was lovely, and obviously Jason Momoa, and so I've had good experience in those rooms. But it can.
Well, did Ed Burns know you before that, or was
No,
he
I
just
never
super
met Ed
generous
before
guy?
that.
Just
He
like,
was
I'm
just
gonna
a
give
generous
everybody-
guy. He was just, he already had the job, clearly, he's Ed Burns. He just gave his all in those scenes, and a couple of them were emotional scenes, and for me, that's a respectful and, you know, real proof of evidence of a great actor, someone who, even if they're not on camera, they're gonna give you tears, or they're gonna give you anger, they're gonna give you pain, whatever you need to give your best performance, and that doesn't always happen.
Wow, that was cool. I mean, for him to do that over and over again?
Yep.
Yeah, nice. All right, G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra. Wonderful film out of 2009. That's a
She's so nice with these adjectives.
And I'm not just throwing them around.
Okay.
You had some,
Okay.
Okay, ready for another adjective? You had some mad biceps in that movie. Not that
I
you don't
did.
now. Oh my
No,
God.
I worked very hard to. There was a scene. This is what started it all. I got the job. I was shooting Star Trek, and I had the sort of neon red gala extraterrestrial hair, and I went in and I tested for G.I. Joe. I auditioned first, and then I went back to meet Stephen Sommers, the director, and then I went in for a proper film test, and I had this sort of, you know, crazy red hair. And I was doing my last night on Star Trek, and I got a call from Stephen Sommers, and he said, "Do you want the role of Scarlet?" And I freaked out and screamed in his ear, and he went deaf, and so then that was obviously a yes. And then I got the script. I didn't have the script before accepting the job. I was only given 3 pages. I had my first audition was sides from Van Helsing. And Stephen had directed that years prior because they didn't want to give up the script. They didn't want to give up the script. So I signed on to do the movie without ever having read the script, just because I thought Scarlet was going to be pretty kick-ass, and I liked everything that was going into it. So I read the script, and there was a scene where Scarlet is running in a sports bra and camo pants on a treadmill, talking to Ripcord, and I'm going, oh God, nothing can move here. This whole midriff area is going to have to be in really good shape if I'm going to do a 3-page scene while running on a treadmill. So that started the workout regimen with my trainer in LA, and I put on about 15 pounds of muscle.
Wow. How many crunches did you do?
You know what? There was a lot of eating, protein, which just isn't that fun, and a lot of working out. And it was very cool in the end to see it, because I can see it when I watch it, and then I think, I don't think I should do that again. It's cool looking at it now, but it was a lot of work.
Wow. You had a great fight scene with Sienna Miller.
Oh God, that's when Sienna and I became really good friends. I showed up for our first issue, killed me. Well, she's not here.
She can watch it on True Film, so you can tell her when she can watch it later.
I showed up the first day of fight rehearsals as someone who goes to the gym, is ready. I've got, you know, the sort of the workout leggings on, the shoes, the sort of white crappy tank top, the whole thing, and I show up and she's sort of outside on the phone in totally the wrong, like, gear that you would never work out in, and she looks at me, she's like, oh dear, you go to gym, don't you? And I went, oh, well, you know, I like to work out. She's like, I don't really like to work out. She's like, I like to smoke and shag, and that's about it. I like to smoke and drink and shag, and that's about it. screw the gym, let's go get a glass of wine. But that's when we became really good friends, because we had to do this fight scene and we rehearsed it, and we had a big luxury on G.I. Joe, which was 6 weeks of fight rehearsals. Except that we're throwing each other around, we're landing on each other's faces, she's accidentally slamming my head into something, I'm crushing her midsection, so we became very good friends in a very short period of time. And when you shoot that fight scene in real life is much longer. We shot much more of that than is actually in the movie, and that's usually the way that it works. You choreograph a fight scene, you rehearse the fight scene, you shoot as much of it as you possibly can, and then sometimes it gets lost in editing. But that one was pretty epic.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun to shoot.
That's so fun. Are you laughing a lot during that?
Oh, it was hilarious. She's one of the funniest people I know, one of the most self-deprecating, especially seeing her now as a mom. She's so easygoing. And that's what made it easy, because she just didn't care. She made fun of me constantly, and I just made fun of her constantly. And I was the one that went to the gym, and she was the twig. And I mean, the girl could eat spaghetti bolognese 5 meals a day and not gain a pound, and it's the most annoying thing. Love her, drives me nuts.
Wow, that's great. You still keep in touch with all these people, or is it hard that you hope you work with them again? You meet such good friends.
Yeah, there are people that you always keep in touch with. There are people that you hope you'll keep in touch with, and you lose touch, and then you come back together again. There are people that you hope you work with again that you don't. There are people that you hope you work with again that you do. Sienna's one of those people who stayed in my life. I mean, she lives in England for the most part, but when she's in LA, I try to see her if I'm in LA. I'd love it if she was working here, because I'd see her more. And then I have people like Joe Montana, who I worked on Criminal Minds with. And he is every bit as lovely as you would expect him to be. But I got an email from him out of the blue 3 days ago just saying, I rewatched your first episode on Criminal Minds, and I just wanted to say how great I thought it was, and how I wished we could have had you back for every season, but I've also seen an episode of Continuum, and it's fantastic. He's, like, sometimes you meet people that you know will kind of be in your life in some way forever, you just don't know in what capacity, and people like that always sort of end up turning up.
Wow, that's cool. He's been around forever.
He's lovely too.
Yeah,
very funny.
Some big acting chops there.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. All right, so you got a Teen Choice Award.
Oh dear Lord, for what?
For the Amityville Horror. Am I right?
And I was not. Yeah, I think I was nominated for like an MTV award.
Yeah, but you got the award for the best movie scream. The best movie scream.
Oh yes, that was
for Amityville Horror. Now I don't want you to blow anything out and hurt your.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not. Julie Caitlin Brown will kill me if I scream right now. She's not over there. Oh.
How long did it last? How long did the scream
Well,
last?
I remember Brad Fuller and Andrew Forum, who were producing Amityville Horror, said, "Can you scream?" And I went, "Well, we'll find out." And then I did repeatedly, and then apparently I could. And it's kind of something that you just have to get your air way down at the bottom, and then just kind of.
And it just keeps coming once you let it go?
Pretty much, yeah. And then you got a really sore throat.
Oh.
Well, no, then you can't say the rest of your lines. So anytime I have to do looping for a movie or a show where I have to do a scream, they save the scream till the end. So I go through all the dialogue first, and then I scream.
Okay, so that was inside baseball talk. Looping, is that when you go back after the film?
Oh, yeah,
and
sorry.
Then no, you don't have to apologize. It gives me more questions. You go back and you can
Basically, so if there's a problem with the sound, if there's a problem with your mic, if there's a bird that's making a lot of noise, if there's a train going by, if there's raindrops, anything that's interfering with the sounds, you have to go back and do what they call ADR, which is looping, which is I watch my mouth move on the screen, and I have a headset in, and then I have to say the exact same line in the exact same cadence at the exact same time and match my mouth so that they have a clear sound piece that matches my mouth. It's not as fun as it sounds.
Oh, sounds hard. Did they give you the line before?
Yeah. They give you the lines before, and then there are little sort of beeps in your head to help you time out when you're supposed to start talking. But it can be a very tedious
technical.
process. I usually bring wine. I find that it helps.
Is there a lot of that in acting? We're looking at all the glory and just how shiny and wonderful your career is, but is a lot of it like, wow, there's some technical minutia that is going on here.
I do think a lot of it is shiny and wonderful. I consider myself extremely lucky. I was shooting a scene last night where this other actor, Ryan Robbins, and myself had been thrown by a pulse of electric energy onto the ground, and it was raining in Vancouver. You're shocked, I know. And we had to throw ourselves onto the ground and into sort of wet grass. And they tell us, the costumers telling us, they say, try not to get too wet. Just try not to get too wet. And we're just launching ourselves down into and we go down after the first take and we get up and we're just both covered with mud. And we looked at each other like, yeah, typical Friday night. But yeah, I mean, there are so many cool and fun and interesting things about what I get to do, the people I get to meet, the places I get to go. Yeah, looping, not my favorite thing, not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, it's this very little part of something that's this very little annoying part of something that's so fun.
Yeah, and a great product. What a wonderful character to play on the show. So we'll get you guys lined up now. We've got about 12, 14 minutes left in the program.
How did you get a red iPhone?
It's not a red iPhone, it's a red iPhone case.
Well, I'd like one of those.
Yeah,
Hers might disappear.
Still for life. So over here, and we'll get you lined up and we'll start asking questions in just a minute. I just wanted to, I wanted to know, season 3 premiere is happening this coming Friday on Sci-Fi. That's And how far into season 3 are you filming? Like, how many episodes are done?
We're almost done. So I was working till about, I got home I think at 2 a.m. and I flew here. We're done in 2 weeks. Our last day of season 3 is April 11th.
So is one of your permanent date nights is Sci-Fi Channel when you watch each episode together?
It's on Showcase in Canada.
Oh, that's right. It's on that other. Already premiered up there too, didn't they?
Yeah, only 2 episodes in. They tightened up the difference between premieres this year, and
Okay,
then
good.
hopefully next year it'll get tighter and tighter with the UK and Australia and France and all that, and they'll be airing all at the same time all around the world.
Okay, but that is a definite date. You guys sit and watch those episodes.
We do. I have to tweet a lot, and he pours a lot of wine. It's great.
All right. Hey, let's take questions from our audience now.